Hey everybody, how we doing today? So, Hurricane Irma. A lot of people have been kind of inquiring about that and what's going on and what's happening down here in Key West and what's happening with me. So I figured I could dedicate a few videos towards that, even though I kind of like to stick to the fishing stuff, but I guess it's kind of tinily related there. But anyways, so what are my plans? Well, actually, my plans have just been flip-flopping. At the moment, I'm in Key West. It's Thursday around 4 p.m., just for an idea for you. I originally started about a week ago when Hurricane Irma started to be a threat, and I was pretty much, I'm just going to stick it out. It's no big deal. Been through them before. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, all that stuff. So my initial plan, okay, but I'm good enough to know to get planned ahead before things get out of hand. So I got all the water. Well, I drink tap water, so I got all my containers full of water. Got a bunch of canned foods that'll last for a month, and I've got emergency supplies, a bunch of batteries. I've got all the flashlights from just fishing, so I'm good there. Medical supplies, all that stuff. So I'm good in that regard, so not to worry. Then I was fairly comfortable for that for a while. Then things started to get a little bit more serious with the hurricane, class 5, and directly coming at the Keys. So I started thinking, maybe I should bug out of here. What the hell? So I started deferring to that. I'd already gotten the house all cleaned up, all ready to go. So it was just a matter of taking all my hurricane prep supplies from the house and putting them in my car and getting the car all situated. I checked all the fluids and made sure everything was working right, and even stereo wired up the rusted up exhaust that's about ready to fall off, and got a big jug of oil because my oil pan is rusted through and leaking. Crazy thing about that is that I just received a brand new oil pan and a full new stainless steel exhaust system. I just hadn't put it on there, so I didn't know if that was a good thing or not that I did that, but still sitting in a box here. But I got the car fully loaded, ready to go, got all the tools, everything. So I was set. So my original plan was to just go up to the mainland and directly head over west to Fort Myers, to Tampa Bay, farthest to the north, and anywhere around there and just hide out. I figured most likely I'd end up there's not going to be any hotels, motels, places to stay. So best thing I figured on, hey, I'm going to end up camping out, got all my camping, hammocks, all that stuff. So I figured, just going to be camping for a few days, so no big deal. So that was plan A. But then my landlord, who ended up flying out of here, had told me that he has a house in Ocala, which is in the forest just north of Orlando there, and that I could just go up there and hide out if I wanted to. So that became plan A. So I was like, that's not such a bad deal. And that's an 8-hour drive from Key West on a perfect day. So I figured more like 24 hours during this hurricane cycle with all the people trying to get in and out of there. So that was my original plan, and I was going to leave tonight, actually. Leave here about 10, 11 o'clock, get to Miami about 1 or 2, and try to get through Miami by that 2, 3, 4 o'clock period where it would be the slowest time frame to get through there, because it's all nightmarish up there as soon as you get the mainland. And then spend the next half day, maybe crash overnight, so that morning traffic, and then slowly make my way up to Orlando, and then wait till that 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and then try to cut through there. And then once I got into Ocala, I'd be good. So a full 24 or 36 hours worth of driving. And that was my original plan, and that's what I was going to do tonight. But then I started thinking about it, and what really kicked in was kind of, if you watch my videos when I go offshore, especially during the summertime, I talk about those summer death storms that are most likely going to be the thing that takes me out, and how they're just really fast moving, they're really violent, and very somewhat unpredictable. And I talk about, like, a lot of times people see that a big storm is coming when they're sitting offshore, and their first initial knee-jerk reaction is, oh, got to get back to the dock, got to get back home. Okay, but unfortunately though is that once you if you take a deep breath and you think about it and you look, you see that that storm is following right along the Keys, and it's exactly going to meet up right where you're going to want to go, and that's not where you want to be. And sometimes it's better to wait it out. Maybe like I do is I'll sit out in the reef, and if it starts edging towards me, instead of going towards land, I'll go farther out to sea because to get around it. And that's what kind of kicked into mind. So I started kind of looking at things, debating things. I talked to my landlord. Then I talked to my buddy who's the maintenance guy that does a lot of the maintenance stuff around, and he knew about my house here and gave me the rundown of the how secure it is and the type of winds to look for and what's going to happen. And what it is that, and I'll show you a little bit after this, is that my house is different than these Key West houses that surround me. This is kind of a upper scale but old school neighborhood. Mine's unique in that mine is like a brick and mortar versus the wood houses around me, the multiple story ones, and plus it's recessed back into people's backyards. So I basically take up 2 houses' backyards with my house here, and so it's recessed really far back, and I'm surrounded entirely by 2-story houses. Behind me there's a super tall fence, privacy fence, that goes above my roof line, and there's immediately beyond that is a big huge wall of 3 2-story houses. Both houses next to me are 2-story houses, and then across the street from me all of them are 2-story houses. Then the road that I live on, one end is blocked off by a 4-story brick and mortar hotel, and then the other side is blocked off, dead ends as well, by 2-story houses. So I'm actually in the middle of the dead ends, both dead end streets, surrounded by 2-story houses. The only negative part though is flooding. Storm surge is that I am susceptible to that because I'm not very high off the ground. I don't have any issues with flooding in regards to when heavy rains, the heaviest rains, I've never had water. And this is good that if this is a non-flood area that's never flooded before. But storm surge is something different. Then you're talking 6, 10, 12 plus, depending on 20 feet. And that's going to overwhelm the island, and that's what would overwhelm me. You get 6 to 8 foot of water, then that's going to be running right in here. But on the flip side though is I don't really care about that. I don't care if my stuff gets wet. I don't care about the stuff that I have, to be honest with you, which is a big help, because it's just I've got a couple nice pieces of furniture. The rest of the stuff is like my fishing gear. It's just good solid stuff, but it's nothing to cry about. And then all my other stuff is fishing stuff, and that stuff spends most of its time covered in salt water only, so And then my car is covered in salt water all the time, and it's a rust bucket, so I could really care less about that. So structurally sound, the safety part of it is I'm really low impact even with the hurricane coming through here because of those circumstances. Then I'm low risk because I don't care if this place floods, it's not mine. The stuff that I have in here, the good stuff I've got way off the ground, so there's probably, unless a really bad problem flood comes in, and those will be fine too. The rest of the stuff, I just hose it off and put it back into use again. So then I started thinking, well, maybe I'm going to hang around a bit. Started talking to the fireman buddy, and then they're staying, the family's staying, a lot of people are staying up and down. So it's just kind of Then the current path trajectory is looking a lot better, that it's going to take that northerly turn. Most of them say that, so that's looking a little better. But the biggest factor comes down to what I was talking about before, is knee-jerk reactions actually getting you into more trouble than helping, making that run for the dock when that storm is headed for the dock. And with the latest forecast, that's kind of the problem. the distance between where it should be making landfall around that Miami area, that hurricane wings of it are covering all the way to the west coast. So that Fort Myers area is screwed. Even all the way up to Tampa Bay, even though basically the whole southern mid-Florida is all going to get impacted, even if it runs right along the east coast. To make things worse is the logistics of it. How do I get from Key West to anywhere where it's actually going to be safer? I mean, the Ocala thing is probably my best bet, although it's going to be central, so it's going to get a pretty heavy hit, but it won't have to worry about storm surges there. It'll be just flooding, and I don't know the condition of the house. He says it's so-so condition, but salvageable. So that part of it, but the entire West Coast, I mean, everybody is evacuating going to Tampa, but then now they're heading up north with the way this storm is turning out. But logistically, if you think about it, what I would have to get through, because I'm at the back of the line, and to try to get anywhere, I have to go through all of the other line, and that's going to be virtually impossible. And then you throw into the factors of roadblocks with just crammed full of people. Then you have accidents, then you have breakdowns, then you have, hell, my car could break down. Even though it hasn't had any problems, you never know. It could be the day that it's going to just die on you. Then what happens is I'm stuck somewhere when the storm is going to hit, and I'm stuck inside my car, which is 10 times worse. And then even though I get up north, then what? I have no place to go because there's, like I said, no hotels, no nothing. So it's just, I'm thinking the better choice is to actually stick it out here and just kind of wing it. The forecasts keep looking better. I mean, I still have that straight shot, and I would run into the same traffic if I left on Friday versus I leave tonight. So that is the plan. So long story short, I'm gonna hang around and ride it out and check it out. So that is the plan. I'm pretty much set. I'm pretty much secure. So everything's battened down. There's nothing outside. Everything is inside except for the Hobie, and that will be coming in last minute. So all my stuff is inside. So even if it floods, stuff is not going to float away. So I just hose it down and I'm good to go. But anyways, yeah, we can take a quick look around outside and show you kind of what I'm talking about. Well, it looks like we've already got a pre-hurricane start. Got a bunch of storm came through, I guess, dumping rain. But it gives a good example of where we're at. I've got this enclosed patio, which is nice, all fenced in, so I could just shut the gates. I'm going to have barricades on there to kind of help with any wind issues. But as you can see, I don't even get a breeze in here. I got a 2-story house there. I've got a 2-story house there. All the houses across the street are 2-story houses. So I'm pretty much blockaded in here. Now if one of these palm trees came down, that would not be a good thing. Or if these other houses get blown into mine, that'd be a bad thing. But otherwise, I'm pretty solid. The tarpon 140 is going to stay tied to the tree, and then I've got it pretty much about a third full of water. So the bottom half is, or bottom third is just full of water, so that thing is a stone. My Hobie will go inside the house, so that fits just right inside without a problem. Got the French doors. Those are heavy-duty storm windows and doors, so I'm good there. Pontoons will go in inside as well. The barbecues will just have to make do. Same with the bikes. Bikes will have to make do in my cheap plastic storage stuff there that I want to keep but not worthy to put inside. Although I've already got quite a bit of all my other fishing stuff inside the bathroom. But as soon as this stops, then maybe we can go take a walk and take a look around. And this is my water source. So it's good to have this topping here, but that is where I will be getting my water. I've got tons of water already, so I'm not gonna be running out, but for general water purposes, that's where I can get some. Okay, so you can get an idea of where my house lies. So basically my covered patio area here, fenced in there. Main body of the house is straight back, and then the bedroom accesses goes actually behind this house. And you can see how deep in my house is compared to these two. And then they're all 2 stories, so I'm totally encapsulated there. And then if you can see all the way back there, those are all 2-story houses there. And all these are 2-story houses. And then at the end of the street, it basically dead ends at houses there, like all across there. And the end of this road is a 5-story hotel, all concrete, so that blocks off that side. So that's why I'm kind of a little bit more comfortable sitting in here, although I don't have the storm coverage since I'm on ground level. But like I said, I don't care if my stuff floods. That part, I just wash it off and I'm good. So there we go. So as you can kind of see, we look to be pretty stable where I'm at, so I think I'll be okay here. I've got probably a little bit more experience than most in regards to this kind of stuff. Beyond Key West, this is my second go around in Key West. I lived here in the late 90s, early 2000s. But I've also lived in Hawaii, and I lived in the Virgin Islands for a while. So kind of got used to that, and then visited lots of islands throughout the world. So I've kind of got that down. Been through hurricanes, earthquakes in California, tornadoes in Kansas, so typhoons in Asia. So I kind of get used to it after a while. I think it's not so much just being lackadaisical about it, but just using common sense and a little bit of precaution kind of keeps a good balance there. And I've also I spent a lot of time roughing it, you would say. So no power, no electricity. It doesn't really affect me like it would other people. So I'm used to sleeping on the ground and humidity and wet and nasty conditions. So it doesn't bother me as much. And I've got everything that I need to make it as comfortable as necessary to get by for a week or 2 weeks, should it be that long. And I can always go fishing. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. And I'll try to do probably a couple more of these hurricane videos. I think people will be interested in what's going on down in the Key West. Now the Miami Palm Beach might be a little bit more interesting than us. So anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye.